Senator Sifuna.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. First, let me start by saying that I want to laud the leadership of the majority and the minority sides that have brought this motion this morning. And to just say to the Honorable Senator Edwin Sifuna that you will struggle, my brother, to make a better speech than what you've made this morning. And I am sure it has given a lot of hope to a lot of people in this country that, in fact, this institution of the Senate can rise to the occasion when other people are failing. They say that with great power comes great responsibility. And I don't think that in this House there was somebody with a greater responsibility, leader, to set the tone for the discussion that we want to have this particular morning. I think I hear what Kenyans are saying. They want to see from the leadership of this country contrition. They want to see remorse. They want to see us taking responsibility for everything that has happened, that has led us to this particular moment. And allow me to follow in your footsteps and also tender an unreserved apology to the people of Kenya if I have contributed in any way by my conduct, by my speech, to bringing the country to where it is today. I apologize for that. Honorable Speaker, as a senator of Nairobi, you know that Nairobi has borne the brunt of the protest, of the killings, of the loss of lives, of the loss of property. As we speak right now, we have 39, as of the last count, people who have lost lives across the country. And more than half of that, at least 19, have been killed in the city of Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, out of those 19 that have died in the city of Nairobi, between 6 and 8 of them, the numbers are yet to be confirmed, were actually very parliament. And as we join our country and our colleagues in mourning, I also want to take this opportunity to send my heartfelt condolences to all the families that have lost their loved ones in this particular protest. Of course, Honorable Speaker, because we have been the epicenter of these riots and protests, we have a lot of damage that has been done to public and private infrastructure. We have lost a lot of property. In fact, the value is unknown. We will need time to actually do an audit of all the property that has been destroyed. Businesses in Nairobi CBD have been shut. There have been all sorts of claims, Honorable Speaker. There's people who have come to me and even talked about ethnic profiles businesses, that it's certain communities that are being attacked and others are not being attacked. We are in a place where we have never been in terms of the crisis that is facing us. And all I hear the young people of this country saying is that we as a leadership now need to stop talking. We now need to stop talking and want to listen to these young people. Honorable Speaker, I have been turning down invitations to media houses because I'm asking these media houses, why don't you invite these Gen Zs themselves to tell you what it is they want, to paint a picture of the kind of country that they want? Would you believe it, Honorable Speaker? The many Gen Zs who are being invited to these TV shows are afraid that they will not leave that TV station and get home because they are afraid of being arrested or detained outside those TV stations. And the conversation here, Honorable Senator Cheruiyot, is that we now need to do certain things to facilitate a conversation to happen, starting with what we are doing here. We need to show remorse as leaders. We need to stop threats to people who are... I am in a WhatsApp group, somebody is sharing what is it called, a charge sheet of someone who's being arraigned in court because they said Ruto must go. I mean, Honorable Chair, we must get to a place where if we are going to have a national conversation, let us allow people to express themselves, and that is the only way we will hear what they have to say. We need to put aside our egos. I know some of the things that we are being told and the things that are being directed at us is very humiliating. As leaders, we are not accustomed to this. But, Honorable Speaker, it is a time to set egos aside and just listen. There is something very profound that the majority leader told me yesterday. He said, Sifuna, right now, there are no more political goals to be scored. There isn't even a political game now going on because all of us in the political class are actually indicted by the people of this republic that we have failed in terms of what we need to do to get this country where it's supposed to be. I have shared an example here that on the day of the 25th of June, was being stoned in the city of Nairobi. And by the way, although it is a car that is popular with members of parliament, very many Kenyans actually drive this car. It is one of the most ubiquitous cars in the streets of Nairobi. So imagine you being a doctor or a lawyer, you have nothing to do with parliament, driving around the city and people attack you because of the car that you're driving. It is a problem that we have to solve. By our own conduct, we have put all of us in the line of fire. An MCA leaving the County Assembly of Nairobi, one of the nominated MCAs, was attacked, Honorable Speaker. And yes, she was, her car was badly damaged. She was badly hurt, including her driver. She had to get surgery. By the time people are saying, oh, stop, this is not a member of parliament, or this is a member of the National Assembly, you are already dead. That is what we are saying. We need to come and rise above all these differences that we've always had to have a conversation about our country. Kenya has changed forever. We must not allow us to go back to the bad manners. I was seeing clips of young people on TikTok saying they are very happy there are no more strobe lights, there are no more sirens, people are not overlapping. They are asking where have all these big vehicles gone in the streets of Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, I saw a newspaper article in the Standard today saying that MPs are in hiding, members of the National Assembly are in hiding. And the question is, where are these members? I'm very proud to be a senator today, that we are not hiding from the people. We are here to actually take responsibility for all our actions and to try and assuage or deal with the problems that we have contributed in bringing about. So, Honorable Speaker, there are things, in my view, that we can do. And this moment does not call for us to tell the young people what to do. We need to demonstrate that we are hearing what they are saying and look at ourselves in the mirror, Honorable Speaker. It has to be about us. We start with the House of Senate and the House of Parliament generally, so that we are able to demonstrate that we understand what these young people are saying. So in my presentation, Honorable Speaker, I will be proposing that we don't tell anybody else other than ourselves what we are going to do going forward to try and help this country to move from the quagmire that it finds itself in. And there are very low-hanging fruits. My friends here have spoken, for instance, about the supposed salary increments. By the way, in defense of the SRC, I know many of you have bashed them here. That Gazette notice that is in the public domain and discussion right now was published on the 9th of August 2023, the day we went for elections. I am telling you, because it is supposed to be 2022, 9th of August 2022, because it's supposed to be that members of parliament, when you go for elections, people should know how much money you're going to make in advance. And the role of setting salaries was removed from us. The public still thinks that Sifuna has the power to increase his own salary. I do not have that power. That power is in a constitutional commission called the SRC. Honorable Speaker, what we need to do, and I'm very happy my colleagues who have gone before me have said it, in all honesty, nobody asked for that increment. Nobody that I know. Personally, I never asked for that increment of 14,000 shillings. Tone deaf if we are going to insist that we get that increment this particular year or next year, when the economy is in the doldrums, when many Kenyans have nothing to put on the table. So I also support the proposal by members who have spoken before me that we formally resolve that we as a Senate are not interested in any additional salaries this particular financial year. Number two, Honorable Speaker, we need to relook at our budgets in this House and see where we can make major concessions and cuts for members of the public to feel that we are actually lessening the burden and not increasing the burden. And I want to give a personal example, and you'll forgive me if I'm giving out house secrets. Honorable Chair, when I became the Deputy Minority Whip, I was allocated a vehicle, a GK vehicle. On the first day that I used that car to go home, I passed through the expressway. I was shocked, Honorable Speaker, at the amount of money that is on my ETC card for my parliamentary car. As of this morning, when I used that same car to come here, there is 377,000 Kenyan shillings on my ETC. There is 377,000 Kenyan C of the vehicle that have been given by Parliament. It does not make sense. It does not make sense, Honorable Speaker. So what you do, members of Parliament, the staff of Parliament have to be honest with Kenyans. In the way the budgets of Parliament are prepared, there are ways and means of reducing the expenditure in this House in a manner that will reduce the burden on taxpayers. I honestly do not need all that money. Even if I ran up and down the expressway for a year, I would never exhaust 370,000 Kenyan shillings. So, Honorable Speaker, we must do this so that we demonstrate to the people that we are serious about what we are talking about. Number 3, Honorable Speaker, I want to speak about something in the motion. The Majority Leader proposed that National Assembly should reconvene so that they deal with the question of the presidential memorandum on the finance bill. Mr. Speaker, just as a constitutional lawyer, we in the opposition or in the minority have a different take on how this finance bill should be dealt with. Honorable Speaker, if you look at Article 115 on what should happen to a bill when it is sent back to Parliament, 115 sub-article 3, it says, if Parliament amends the bill fully accommodating the President's reservations, the appropriate Speaker shall resubmit it to the President for assent. What that means, Honourable Leader, is that he sends something back after that process of consideration of his memorandum. I do not think the Constitution envisaged a situation where you are sending a blank document from Parliament to the President for assent. Because what the presidential memorandum is proposing is a deletion of all the clauses contained in the finance bill. So you will have an empty piece of paper. It will have nothing on it. Then you are sending it back to the President for assent. What is he assenting to? So the proposal that has come from Honorable Tiende Amolo, for us, makes a bit more sense. That you allow there to be a bill that is introduced to repeal the finance bill as was passed. Because in the language of Article 115, we do not think that it can be done the way that it is being proposed. So, Honourable Speaker, another thing that we can do, let there be a public pronouncement from the head of state that we are going to stop these arrests, these abductions that have been ongoing, free everyone who's been arrested because of this protest, as the Majority Leader said, honor our dead and the people who are still in hospitals. There is opulence and corruption and the corrupting influence of money in politics. Honorable Majority Leader, when you spoke about that, I was very happy because we have to have a conversation. I was at a conference at one place and somebody was saying how it has become expensive to join politics. And I said it is actually used as a scare tactic to scare away people from political participation. If a young man hears that for you to become the Senator of Nairobi, you need 70 million shillings or 100 million shillings, where do you think that person will never participate in elections? Where are we supposed to get this money? We want the young people to understand that they have demonstrated to this country that you in fact do not need the sort of resources that we are told you need for you to become a political player. Honorable Speaker, there is this question of a ban on harambes. As a lawyer, I am aware there is already legislation that tries to limit participation of political players in harambes, but is limited to the last few months. I think it's, is it 6 months or 9 months to the election? What we should be doing, we should be saying, because now it has become culture that immediately after elections anyway, after you are sworn in, your opponent is already on the ground saying Sifuna must go. So why don't we just extend the period and say throughout the term of Parliament, members of Parliament should not be allowed to participate in these harambes and demonstrate the sort of opulence that we have seen. The Majority Leader and Honorable Halwale has spoken about a rigged economy, and that is something that has touched my heart. Those of us who are born where we were born, Honorable Speaker, many of our young people, including myself, have always wondered how is it possible that people who we know had lesser grades, had far inferior grades in school, we were better than them at everything. They are making progress at a faster rate just because of their second name. We are just there languishing. People have 6 degrees, have never gotten an opportunity. People go for interview after interview. The moment somebody sees your name is Watenya or Sifuna, your CV is put aside. Wanasema leta ya huyu. It is very embarrassing, Honorable Majority Leader, that sometimes an entire institution from top to bottom has members of only one that office. I think these are the things that are going to make our people extremely mad every time these matters are brought about. So if you don't address these matters, Honorable Speaker, we are not going to be able to deal with the problem. We have seen young people, especially when it comes to employment in public service. Honorable Speaker, you qualify as a teacher. You are waiting all your life to be employed as a teacher. Then you see leaders in public rallies, in funerals, handing and dishing out employment letters from TSC. And when you go to TSC, they tell you, oh, there is a system, everybody is logged in, and see which criteria is used, and they eventually reach you. But you can see people dishing out letters from TSC, from KWS, from NYS, in Harambes and in funerals, Honorable Speaker. I think, and even police, these are the things that we need to work on as a leadership so that we stop all this anger that you see. Let me go to another thing, Honorable Speaker. An angry people cannot be reasoned with. Right now, people are very angry. And this is why I'm trying to, explain to this House that we are not going to be prescriptive in how we deal with this issue. Honorable Speaker, that we can demonstrate to the country that at least there is a place where a conversation can be had. Senate is the only House of Parliament that goes to the people. We don't fear the people. That's why we are still here. So if it is possible for us, even if it is going to Uhuru Park, as somebody has suggested, we are ready to be insulted, because at some point we deserve to be insulted. But at the very end of those insults, I think we will be able to pick some few things. Honorable Majority Leader was telling us a story of how he logged into one of the Twitter spaces, and he said there was maybe 60% expletives and insults, but 40% was good material, and it has inspired even the speech that he made this morning. So let us put ourselves at the disposal of the people. We should be available to the people so that we deal with this. On debt, I agree with you, Honorable Majority Leader, that there has to be a public audit of all Kenya's debt so that we know what the truth about this is. On budget, we have explained, and I've given an example here of how we feel that sometimes our budgeting process is padded in such a way that it allows for budgeted corruption. We have estimated, Honorable Speaker, at least those of us on the minority side, that we can do away with at least 1 trillion shillings in this budget. And we don't need to punish anyone. We just need to cut on expenditure in our own institutions. I will go to some of the proposals that I have received from members of the public. Number one, Honorable Speaker, there needs to be an audit of all appointments from September 13th, 2023. Because as Honorable Senator Halwale spoke and said, there are some offices that have been created that we do not even understand the basis of their existence. Look at the number of advisors in government. There needs to be a public audit of all these advisors. And tell Kenyans why it is okay for one office of the advisor on the economic matters, Honorable Halwale, to have more money for travel than 9 committees of this House combined. It doesn't make any sense. So the specter of personal assistance in government, we need a public audit of that. There was another office that was created, and this one you'll forgive me, Majority Leader, of faith intercessors. We need a public audit of who are these people and why are they earning public money. Honorable Speaker, I had occasion to see one business card of one of those faith intercessors. It was the most powerful business card I have ever seen in my life. Honorable Speaker, you have spoken about the office of the First Lady, and I am happy that the President himself took a first initial step to say that office will cease existing from, I think he said, Monday of this week. It had 285 employees. I am telling you, the Deputy President, the wife of the Deputy President's office, 100 employees. Honorable Speaker, we cannot continue like this. Then there is a specter of retreats, and this one we are all guilty as members of this House. We need to look at our retreats, whether the retreats we are taking are necessary, whether these meetings cannot be had here, whether those resolutions cannot be. And then in the independent commissions, in the ministries and the corporations, I was just being told that there actually also exist fake retreats. There's something called a fake retreat, where there was no retreat, but people are being paid for going on a retreat. Then on the foreign trips, Honorable Speaker, These are things we all understand. Let us be able to demonstrate to the public that we're actually serious and we hear them. Just one more minute.
Let's add in 1 more minute to conclude.
And then on the ODPP, I was just conferring here with my friend, the senator for Migori. We were shocked when we heard that a plea bargain had been entered in the Migori corruption case, that a governor who's been accused of stealing billions of shillings has agreed to return 300 million, and then the case is withdrawn. I want to call for an audit of all the in the past 12 or 24 months, Honorable Speaker, so that we understand the legal basis for the withdrawal of these cases, because this is where we are failing. For as long as you can demonstrate, Honorable Speaker, that these cases are going nowhere, that is where people get the confidence that the majority leader was speaking about to engage in some of these things. Lastly, we need respect for the Constitution and constitutional institutions and the bodies across the public service and across the national executive infrastructure. So, for instance, Honorable Speaker, I was being given an example that even the mess we have in the management of public service, that an executive order is made on HR matters to a body called State Corporations Advisory Committee, which is duplication of roles. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this motion, and let us put up that humane face that Kenyans are looking to see, that we can actually engage on these matters. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mohamed Chute.